If you didn't understand before, I hope you understand now. Because you're now listening to the We Talkin Podcast brought to you by Island Girl Tings. This podcast, we are literally talking about every and anything with your girl, Kamilah Gomes. So subscribe from wherever you get your podcast and get ready to talk. Welcome to Season 3, Episode 1 of the We Talkin Podcast. And today's episode, we have special guest, Dennis McCall Jr. Today, we're going to talk about the impact of the lack of regional travel that it has on the Caribbean and the importance of Caribbean governments taking aviation seriously. Before we talk today, here's a little bit more about Dennis. Dennis McCall Jr. is a 27-year-old son of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Management with a concentration in Tourism and Hospitality Management from the UWI Cave Hill campus, a Master's in Science in Air Transport Management from the Montfort University, and is currently pursuing his PhD in Air Transport Management at DMU. When not serious, he enjoys cooking and being an avid clown and is passionate about aviation. So thank you for being here today, Dennis.
Yep. Thank you so much for having me. It is season 3, Barcelona. Season 3,
Season 3.
Oh my days. Come big up yourself one time. Big up yourself one time. You're doing the thing.
Thank you. And for those who don't know, Dennis and I are friends for about 6 years now. So this is just going to be a good time, a good conversation. We're just presenting what we talk about all the time to you. So let me just jump into the questions for today. So my first question for you, Dennis. So we all know summer is like peak festival season for us here in the Caribbean. However, this summer, more people really spent it complaining about the price of the tickets to go to these neighboring islands than the actual festivals themselves. So can you break down the factors on why these tickets are so expensive?
All right, awesome. So before we get into that, let's talk about like aviation on a whole. Now, the aviation industry is actually one of the most expensive industries out of all of them that we have. It is high cost intense, you could say, right? So with any organization, just like let's say, just like if you got a shop down the road, the main goal of your organization or your business is to make a profit, right? So that's something that we need to bear in mind moving forward as we do the breakdown. So with every single airline, they have something called tariffs. Now, with the tariffs, these are predetermined prices per seat. It can range from the lowest price that they can charge for a seat to the highest they would charge for a seat. And the price would shift based on the season. So, you got your peak, off-peak, normal season as well, right? So, with your peak season, it's going to be the highest fares that you can possibly get for a particular seat. So, summer period is a peak season, right? Very high season within the Caribbean, because you not only have to worry about persons traveling within the region, but you also have to worry about persons traveling from outside of the region to come in to the different festivals, right? So let's do a breakdown of the cost of a ticket. So you would have the base fare coming from that tariff that we'd had before. You would have the taxes and airport fees, the fuel charge or surcharge, then you would have the ancillary charges, which is for the seat, baggage, food, etc. Right? Now, the issue that we're being faced with in the Caribbean is two different issues. One, our high taxes, our high fees, taxes, and charges. We have some very, very high TFCs within the Caribbean region. And another thing as well is the lack of connectivity. That contributes to those tickets being high as well. So if we did do a breakdown of the taxes, right? So we're doing a trip between St. Kitts and St. Martin, right? A nice little 2 weeks in February. February ain't really like what is happening in February in St. Martin? I don't know. Nothing really.
The French side have their carnival, but that's about it.
Okay. So we could consider it maybe like a little peak thingy, right? So we'd have the the fare, the base fare from St. Kitts to St. Martin would be $307.80, right? We're talking the Eastern Caribbean dollars here. And you would have the base fare from St. Martin to St. Kitts, $307.80. So in total, your base fare for that round trip is $615.60, right? But the overall cost of that ticket is $1,026.40. First of all, I should not be paying no $1,000 to go to a country that I could see from my country. First of all, I just have to put that in there.
Exactly.
Because I can see St. Martin. I swear I could see you hanging on your clothes from St. Kitts. Bro, that is how close the islands are. I just had to put that in just a while ago, right? Of that total cost, $410.80 are taxes. So you have the St. Kitts International Airport Enhancement Facility Tax, St. Kitts Airport Tax, the Environmental Levy, St. Martin Passenger Screening Fee, St. Martin Departure Tax, St. Martin Airport Improvement Fee, and you have the St. Kitts Facility Charge. Now, I could understand why some of these taxes are important. Okay, let's look at St. Martin Improvement Tax, for example, where after I think it was Hurricane Dorian, it basically destroyed the entire airport. So that improvement fee would then go towards it.
Yeah, so it was like after Hurricane Irma. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it was Irma. Yeah. So my thing is, some of these taxes, could understand it. But then you would have other taxes where you'd have to question it a lot, like, bro, you're taxing me for this, but I'm not seeing where that money is going. Where exactly is it going? A lot of countries within the Caribbean, they have this airport improvement tax because a lot of them wanted to renovate their airports. But after the airport was renovated donkey years ago, the tax is still there. Why is it still there? Where exactly is this money going to? Right? Another thing that we need to be mindful of that contributes a lot towards these high taxes is that the airlines need to recover the cost for that one leg. So as I said before, aviation is very expensive, and to just run one route from St. Kitts St. Martin, you gotta pay a lot of different fees from the airline standpoint. So you gotta pay landing fees. You need to pay parking fees if you're parking the aircraft overnight. You gotta pay for fuel. You gotta pay for airspace charges when you move from one airspace to the next. You gotta pay for that. You have to pay for the maintenance of the aircraft. You also have to pay for the crew. So in this case, we're using the Twin Otter from St. Kitts to St. Martin, which is a nice little 19-seater operated by Whittier. They have the two pilots. They gotta pay the two pilots that are there. You also gotta pay your crew that are on the ground because St. Martin has their own crew. Not St. Martin. Whittier has their own crew, right? So they have to pay for that. So they need to make sure that they recover these costs, right? But even though the airlines are supposed to recover these costs and in order to make a profit, the issue still lies at the high taxes that are by the actual countries themselves. So really and truly, the country is making it harder for persons to travel. Now, I'm doing my research in sustainable aviation within the Caribbean. And, we think about sustainability, we look a lot about the environmental pillar of sustainability. Now, the high taxes in the Caribbean, and it's something that I hate to research so much because I hate to agree with the high taxes. The high taxes actually contributes towards environmental sustainability within the region because it cuts down the amount of persons that are going to be traveling. If you ain't got nobody traveling, it means you don't need to have a plane in the sky, which means you're basically saving the ozone layer. But even though the high taxes, fees and charges are environmentally sustainable, you need to look at the social sustainability pillar as well. Persons not being able to travel to visit their friends and family, to even go down to university, or even travel for work, it's not sustainable at all. Persons are not able to move. And with the Caribbean, we rely heavily on the aviation industry. We can't do nothing without it. Without aviation, we are a pillar of salt, just like Lot's wife. May her soul rest in peace.
So rest in peace.
Legit, we just stand still, bro. We legit stand up because there's no sort of boat that we can just say, oh, let me hop on the ferry because I want to go Barbados on Saturday or something like that. This doesn't happen. So these are a lot of different things that contribute towards it. The lack of connectivity as well. We have Caribbean Airlines, Inter-Caribbean, Winyo, Air Antilles is now trying to do something in between there, and I think Caribbean and Liat's still there. But they don't travel to almost every single country, and because there's not a lot of competition, the airlines them could do whatever they want to do. Listen, Winnie could come now and say, in order for you to go to St. Kitts, I'm going to raise this price up to 1,000 would be the base price. There's nothing you can do. You can just got to lap your tail and book your tickets and you got to go. Because there's no other option to go because Leah doesn't even offer I don't want to choose my words wisely. Leah doesn't even offer a surety. Let me say a surety. That you're going to go straight from St. Kitts to St. Martin. Right? Because with the new timetable, they're kind of going up and down the place. Right? In order for you to go from Barbados to St. Kitts, you gotta go Barbados, some other country down in the
window
in the south. I think you gotta go to Tortola. You gotta go to Tortola, St. Martin, and then come over to St. Kitts. Yeah, it's
that's doing a little too much.
Yeah, too much. And you gotta understand as well, every single time you land in these different countries, you gotta pay landing fees. You gotta pay to move between those different airspaces as well. So that contributes a lot towards these tickets being very, very expensive. Now, while we're on this point, I just want to bounce a little bit to something else that I've been very, very passionate about recently. And I know you might rustle some little feathers. I know how the girls like to argue, right? I do not believe that every single Caribbean country needs a direct route to the mainland. Mainland being the US, mainland being United Kingdom. Reason why I'm saying this is because the Caribbean is a perfect place for the hub and spoke network to work. The Caribbean has, I think it's 3 or 4 set hubs. There's Puerto Rico, St. Martin, Antigua, Barbados. We can consider those our main hubs, right? If you have let's say Virgin Atlantic is coming from Gatwick down to Barbados, and you want to go to St. Vincent. Instead of sending the aircraft to St. Vincent, send the aircraft to Barbados, come off in Barbados, have those different flights moving every hour, every other hour to transport those persons from Barbados over to St. Vincent. Caribbean governments, I really wish you could understand that you're not going to be losing money from not having a direct access to the mainland. If we actually put into place a proper hub and spoke network within the region, we're still going to be able to make up those costs, right? Because when you have, let's say for example, you have 500 persons coming down at Virgin Atlantic. Of those 500 persons, 150 of them want to go over to St. Vincent. Now, if you had 1 or 2 airlines operating every other hour after that flight from St. Vincent comes down, from the UK comes down, you're still able to get 150 people from Barbados over to St. Vincent for them to spend the same amount of money in St. Vincent, right? So it's not like you're going to be making so much of a loss. And you can kind of make the aviation industry a little bit more interesting. It would cut cost as well, because you would have some governments actually subsidizing these international airlines to come into the country. Now, if the aircraft is not filled, the government got to pay for them seats. So if you really understand the importance and the benefits of a hub and spoke, it can work. It really can work. I really don't believe in every single Caribbean island having direct access to the mainland. It really makes no sense. It's almost like a waste of financial resources. It's also it's also detrimental to the environment because we're looking at it sustainably, and it could actually be detrimental from an economic standpoint, where if you're subsidizing that flight, that money could have been used elsewhere to do something else. But if you had that hub and spoke, then it would definitely work out best for us. But I think with aviation in the Caribbean, we have a very, very long way to go because the Caribbean has a similar structure to how the EU operates. And you see how easy it is for me to fly in the EU? It should be as easy to fly within the Caribbean region. It really should not be this difficult to do so. But unfortunately, we don't live in a utopia. And unfortunately, we have prime ministers and ministers of aviation and tourism who don't have aviation as a priority. And that is the fact. That itself is a fact. But yeah, I'm just a little boy who get nitty-gritty under this. I probably don't know much about that.
I can't stand you. I cannot. But you make a lot of valid points, And then I guess that has me, as we talking about governments and stuff, that moves to my second question. So, free movement of people and goods is a treaty right mentioned among the treaties of Chaguaramas and Bastille, which covers, CARICOM and OECS respectively. So I know you kind of mentioned it, but do you believe that the governments in these jurisdictions truly believe in these rights and are willing to actually ensure that the movement of people and goods are done in a safe and affordable manner?
Ah, boy. You see that question here? Lord have mercy. Point blank. And let us be honest. We cuss CARICOM a lot and we cuss OECS a lot. But if we really wanted it to work, it would have worked. If we really, really wanted it to work, it would have worked. Too much of our countries, and I'm trying as much as possible not to name any countries, they have this nationalistic mentality. And that is going to be the biggest downfall. The Caribbean, in comparison to other countries around the world, we really just cannot operate by ourselves. We legit have to do it together, and not just on the international stage, but we gotta look at it at the regional stage as well. If you do not have connectivity from aviation standpoint in the region, it makes no sense having the Treaty of Chaguaramas and the Treaty of Bastille because it allows for free movement of people. If a plane ain't coming, we're going. How am I going to be moving freely? Am I going to be renting a kayak and rowing my way over to get off in St. Martin? Well, I can't use St. Martin as an example. Am I going to be rowing my kayak from Frigate Bay in St. Kitts over to English Harbour in Antigua? If I cannot move, how exactly is the treaty supposed to take place, right? I also think there is make sure I answer the question correctly. Xenophobia plays a role in it as well. The Caribbean is a very xenophobic place. And a lot of us don't want to admit it, but it's very xenophobic. And a lot of us have the same mentality as Trump. The same exact mentality as Trump.
Yeah.
And we go on our platforms, we go on our pulpits in church and other places, and we write epistles on our social media and talking about Trump this and Trump that. But you have the same sort of behavior towards a Jamaican coming to work in your country, or towards a Haitian coming to work in your country. And while on this Haiti point, I find it to be so ridiculous for Haiti to be part of CARICOM, and we still have visa restrictions against our Haitian brothers and sisters. I think Belize to this day in 2022 was the only CARICOM country that removed the restrictions for Haitians to travel to Belize. I think that's something that we really need to work on that, bro. Like we really need to work on that. Um,
The
yeah, go
the
ahead.
position of Haiti is so interesting because we always look at them like from a historical standpoint, like yes, as a first free
Hmm.
black nation, and they've done all of this revolution wise, and yes, they've been exploited for so many years, and they go through so many things, but we don't try to take care of them, and it's like,
Hmm. Hmm.
what's the point? Like we're using you as a historical scapegoat, but we're not actually trying to build those connections with them. But we're like, oh, corruption,
Hmm.
da da da. Everywhere has corruption.
Hmm.
Like if we try to work together to make things better, then you're going to have a more cohesive, you know what I mean? Or
Hmm.
and then to like tap on like the whole xenophobic thing, we have that big issue here in St. Martin itself where it's like, so like, when you have like the first generation, like Haitians that born on St. Martin, etc. Like if they do something good,
Hmm.
like we very much to be like, yeah, they're from St. Martin, da 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 da. But if they, as soon
Hmm.
as they do something that you don't like, they're like, oh, where this Haitian boy come from? He don't know about us, da 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 da. Then we get rid of him, and I'm just like, hello. Like in
Hmm.
retrospect, none of us are originally from here. So why are you gatekeeping a space that we all need to use so we could like
Hmm.
live?
Hmm. And a lot of times, I don't think persons understand the economic and social benefits for the free movement of people in CARICOM and in OECS as well. We go to the disadvantages first. Oh, they're taking the jobs. You mean the same job you never wanted to begin with? But anyways, we move on. Right? We need to understand that there are some very big economic and social benefits. These people pay taxes as well. And if he really wanted to change how we look at free movement, he has to start at the top and then trickle it way down. So we need ministers who actually believe in free movement of people. Not every single time you go to not every single time it's CARICOM there, you're putting on some big speech. Or you're quick to go to OUCS meetings and you're on your talk shop, but then there's a lot of blabbing of the mouth, but not a lot of action. And I find that that's something our Caribbean leaders are very good for. They're all fraud and no Mabi, all fraud, and I can't stand fraud in Mabi. Just kill the whole
I
drink.
don't like
But
Marby,
we need
so
some actual. Bruh, I just had to rethink we whole entire friendship just a while ago. Oh, oh my god. Bro, what? I'm gonna let that slide. I'm gonna let that
you hear
slide.
it first, people. I do not like Marby.
As I was saying before, I was traumatized by Cam's comments just a while ago. I really wish our leaders would actually stand up and actually believe in the Treaty of Chaguaramas and the Treaty of Bastille. Because if you just sign in a piece of paper to just say you want to be in things, then don't sign the piece of paper if you're not going to actually put things in place. And this goes towards aviation as well. We can make the Caribbean is a suitable place for an aviation industry to be booming, bro. To be booming. And really and truly, as I'm doing my research in aviation right now, and I'm looking at the different relationships we have with each other within the region, and we seem to can't get things work, it perplexes me. And I'm just like, what exactly is the problem? And he boils straight back down to this nationalistic mindset. I think some of our countries are selfish as well. is like, oh, if I do this for you, wait for me. If nothing for me, may want to do it. Cut me out. Cut me out. And we see a perfect example of that the other day with the country that would not be named putting up that individual for a certain position. You know, it kind of, you gotta look at it very, very sideways. I think the Caribbean can be a beautiful place that blossoms into a social utopia. But you know, yeah, as I said before, we got a long way to go, and I really hope that the future persons that are now interested in politics and policy writing as well, I really hope that they would be the change. But I should also note that a lot of persons who are like our age are just like our predecessors, and we need to find ways to pluck them and push them to the side. But you know, we got some work to do, and man, I really could just hope for the best, Cam.
Honestly,
to be quite honest, I can't wait until you're Prime Minister for St. Martin. Let me send you a WhatsApp. Hey, girl. I'm coming to St. Martin for a weekend. I like VIP treatment. Like, thanks. Let me send you the WhatsApp and be like, hey, girl. How Parliament going?
Prime Minister for whom? Prime Minister for where? Oh, I know.
Ooh.
Look at the scandals happening.
You guys have heard it here on season 3, episode 1 of We Talkin Podcast that Kamilah Gums is going to be the Prime Minister of St. Martin. All those in favor? Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. Case done.
Please ignore the last 5 minutes of this conversation as we move on. Oh, Dennis can give me problems and issues.
Oh my goodness.
That is.
I just want what's best for my friend. That's all.
And you know what's best for your friend? To answer number 3, our third and final question. Look at that. Third and final selection question for this afternoon. So, we all know you're out there getting your PhD because, you know, that's what hatters do, get the PhD. What has been your biggest struggle that you face trying to have dialogues with Caribbean governments? One for your research and also of the importance of aviation.
Cam, you know, I send you voice notes about this on a weekly. Let me start from the importance of aviation. I've done some data collection, right? And all of the data collection has indicated that aviation is not a priority of Caribbean governments. That's a very sad thing. And a lot of the respondents have been saying that they don't think that governments understand the importance of aviation. And it branches off into two things. One, they understand the importance of aviation coming from the mainland, bringing the tourists them in, but they don't understand the importance of aviation. They don't understand for intra-regional travel. So they care about the tourists, but they don't care about the citizens within the country. That's something that's very, very sad, right? In terms of the biggest struggle that I've had so far, and the research is just not by Caribbean governments, but looking at airports within the region as well, the regulatory bodies, the airport authorities. My biggest issue is getting an actual response, bro. Like, I have friends in almost every single Caribbean country, and I've been trying to get them to get in contact with the persons for me, and and that in itself is hell on earth. And this creates a big problem, like a very, very big problem for me. And I've spoken to this about my supervisors before, and I gave them a warning. I was like, the Caribbean is a very good place to do research. However, you need to understand that Caribbean people, when it comes to responding to interviews and to surveys, they do not do it unless something is in it for them. No, it is very unethical of me to say, if you do this interview, you can get $40 Amazon gift card. It goes against ethics and research practices, right? So that's the biggest issue for me, and honestly, sometimes it make me feel like very, very depressed, because it'll be like, bro, I'm trying to better my region. I'm trying to actually put something in place that would make our aviation industry rival the one in Singapore or even the one in the EU. But if I'm not having any sort of some what do you call it? Any sort of feedback from you, not even a response to say, I acknowledge receipt of your email and I will get back to you soon. It kind of hard. Like, even I sent an email to a particular government since November, I think it was October, November 2021. It is September this 5th. I still ain't get acknowledge receipt of your email.
But that email done gone. That email must have done.
Listen, it done gone. And I've sent like 3 or 4 different follow-up emails as well. And something that I really, really wish I had the funding to travel to every single Caribbean island for a few days to do the different interviews and then bounce off and go where I need to go. Like, I really wish it was like that. But the thing is, not every single Caribbean government or organization that I've contacted has been like this, to be honest. And I don't know if I should. I can do it either way. I don't really care. I gotta give a big shout out to Aruba, Curacao. Their airports have been on it, bro. Like, a big shout out to them. For real.
Nice.
Barbados Airport as well. I gotta give a big shout out to them as well. They've been a lot of help. And to also the Department of Transportation. I don't think that's the actual name. The Department of Transportation, the program, something is called in CARICOM. Yeah, she has been really, really good in terms of assisting me with the research, but it's a struggle. It really is a struggle, and I just rant to you. You see my rants on social media as well.
Yeah.
About it. Like, honestly, it's one of the biggest limitations of my entire research. It's not even technology or nothing like that, but it's just not getting a response from these different Caribbean organizations is a big issue. And it may be really something that within the region, we have a big problem when it comes to data, and we really need to fix this very, very soon. But even though we have a big problem with data, when it's time to collect data, nobody actually wants to do the work, and that is for a lot of our problems within the region as well. We got a problem, but when it's time to do the work, oh, not me. Sorry. Not me, somebody else.
It's true.
It creates a problem. But I'm just hoping. I'm really, really praying that I will get a lot more responses before the year is finished. Just so that I could wrap up the PhD. To be honest, like, I have a very good. All of the data has been pointing in the same direction so far. But it's not enough data for a PhD, you could say. It could be enough data for on a master's level. Yeah, but it's not enough data for on a PhD level. So I just hope that, I'm able to finish it. I'm just able to get responses, because I have this vision for aviation within the region. And without that dialogue with these Caribbean organizations, that vision can't be accomplished, I guess. So you guys
heard it. answer Dennis emails. Thank you.
Please.
And
Beg that. I'm
if you
tired.
know somebody who work in your Ministry of Aviation and Tourism, who work in the airport authorities, tell them answer Dennis email,
Please.
because I don't want nobody to be like,
Please.
oh, we have a great Caribbean academic when nobody was helping with his research. So, thank you very much. You heard it here. Exclusive breaking news.
God, did that put me in a trouble mind? Okay. Next thing they hear from them be like, oh, this is the same man I was banging him out on We Talking Podcast. Delete email.
They can't delete your email. That is grounds for removal of office. I don't know on which grounds.
Hopefully. I just like, bro. I'm currently doing my end of year review report for the study thus far, and I'm proud of myself in a way, because I acknowledge that this is a very big issue within the Caribbean, and I'm proud of myself for actually taking initiative with this big task, because it looks like it's very, very small, but it's actually, oh my days, it's actually like a very, very big part of solving that problem within the region. And looking at what I've done so far, and I already have areas for recommendation. I already know inside my mind what exactly a new aviation framework would look for the Caribbean region. But it's just that I would really need that support from these different aviation stakeholders within the region, because in order for you to make something successful, you need all the stakeholders. Like, I really can't do it by myself. I could write 80,000 words, and if you just don't care about it, then we really can't make the aviation industry a better place. But we'll see what happens over the next coming months, though.
I'm looking for good things to happen for sure. For sure.
Ooh, fingers crossed.
But
fingers crossed,
thank you
bro.
so much for talking with me today, Dennis. And before we wrap up,
I got you.
Of course, I have to ask my fun question. So,
dear.
We were talking about festival season. We got all the different festival carnivals, could have meant different summer festivals, etc. So, as a man of the region, because I know, you to be everywhere, right?
Bro.
Which festival has been the most memorable for you?
The thing is, I haven't really experienced that much summer festivals, to be honest. I've been to Anguilla, I've been to Culturama in Nevis. I've done a little bit of what do you call crop over. I've done a little bit of crop over as well. I did a little bit of Notting Hill Carnival up here too. Wow. The most memorable one, I think it would be Anguilla. Because I remember I was going through a piece of depression was licking me in my skin. Right? And I remember I was supposed to go to university and stuff just didn't work out. So I just emptied out my entire savings and I just went to Anguilla for summer festival. It was a very stupid financial decision. However, I felt so great at the end of that. And it was actually one of the first festivals I've ever experienced, you could say, outside of St. Kitts and Nevis. And it was just a really good experience, like just being there with my friends at the time. Big up to Federation one time. old Fed. Right? If you don't know, right? Just it was a very, very good time where you had friends coming together and just enjoying a good festival. Introduced to some good bakes. Oh my goodness. I think the best bakes I've had was from Bradley's mom in Anguilla.
Let me tell you.
Oh,
this
my
has
goodness,
officially
the lady can cook.
This officially became a Lids appreciation podcast. I ate twice from Lids this summer, and every single time,
It slaps.
time, let me tell
Oh
you
my
guys,
goodness.
if you've ever find yourself in Angola and Lids is selling
Mhm.
food when you're in Angola, I don't know how you're going to find out if she's selling food, but if Lydia is selling food while you're in Angola,
Mhm.
please drop that money in front of that woman and pay her for her goods and services
Listen.
because her food.
Listen, chef's kiss, bro. I remember we went by her one afternoon and she cooked up this quick pot of some black bean stew something with some rice. Bro, oh my goodness. That it was heaven. It was heaven on earth. That woman can cook, you know. Oh my goodness. And she made Summer Festival good too because when we're on the road for I think it was the parade day, when we were on the road for the parade day, that's where I had my second set of bakes and cheese. Bakes and melted cheese. Oh my god. It was really it was so good, bro. Yeah, that one was one for the books, Megan Tonalai. So big up to Fed, the old Fed that was there. So big up to Shamar, Bradley. Who was this they by? I think Oren was there. Jared was there too. Kedra was there as well. Hakeem, Mal. I'm missing a bunch of people, but I gotta stop calling them now because I don't want to get cussed. So yeah, I think that was actually one of my most memorable festivals because when I came up from the festival, I felt so good. I felt rejuvenated. And I was teaching at that time, Cam. Whole days, I felt so good after that festival because I was, I'm ready for the school term to come on. Like, yeah, so it was definitely a memorable one for me. I think it was in
I want to say 50.
it was either 2014 or 2015. It probably was in 2015. Yeah. Can you next year I went UE? Yeah, so I think it was 2015. Yeah. But
Good
yeah,
times,
boy.
good times. We love to see it. This is why you should make connections across the region. I am a promoter
Facts.
for having friends in different government jurisdictions, so you have an excuse to go visit them. And that's how we go. So with that being said, thank you so much for being here with us today, Dennis. I appreciate your conversation, your insights. If the people want to find you, how can they find you?
Yeah, so you could find me on LinkedIn at Dennis McCall Jr. And you could also find me on Instagram at JAE3E1. And you can also find me on Twitter at Answer the Call J.
Yeah, right. So, hit them follow buttons, connect with Dennis. The man is smart. He has brains. He talks about. And so, with that being said, thank you for listening and watching, depending where you're listening or watching from, to season 3, episode 1 of the We Talkin Podcast. And we'll see you next time. Bye.